The saloon doors groaned on their hinges, letting in the late afternoon glare. Dust hung in the air like smoke, stirred by boots dragging across warped floorboards. A handful of men clustered around a table near the bar, their laughter sharp, their voices raw from liquor. In the center of their noise stood a woman, shoulders drawn tight, hands balled at her sides. 2 bottles of Red Creek, the fattest of the men barked, slapping his palm on the counter. That's fair enough for her. Not worth more. The barkeep smirked, already reaching for the corks. The drifter paused just inside the doorway. He had seen men traded like cattle in mining camps, but this was different. Her dress was torn at the sleeve, dust caked into the hem. She stood barefoot, hair tangled, chin lifted higher than her body seemed to allow. The room roared with mockery, but she didn't cry. That was the first thing he noticed, her silence. The fattest man grinned wider, lifting a glass. Come on, barkeep. Whiskey for the boys, and she's yours. Let her scrub pans, or warm a bed. Don't matter none. A bottle slammed onto the bar. Cork popped. Laughter rolled. The drifter's hand twitched near his belt, where no gun rested. He hadn't carried one in months. He stepped forward anyway. His boots struck hard against the boards, and the laughter faltered. I'll buy her, he said. The barkeep froze, bottle halfway poured. The room hushed. Every eye turned to him, the stranger with dust on his shoulders, road in his beard, and no allies in this town. He kept his gaze fixed on the woman. Her eyes were sharp, alert, like an animal pressed to the edge of a snare. By her, one man echoed, half choking on his drink. What's a drifter got that we don't? The drifter didn't answer right away. He lifted a coin pouch, let it drop onto the bar with a dull weight. More than enough for whiskey. More than enough for shame. She's worth more than this town, he said, voice even. For a beat, no one moved. The barkeep's lip curled. The fattest man chuckled low. Stranger, you just insulted every man sittin' here. The woman's gaze flicked to him, quick, uncertain, but something passed there. A question. Maybe even the start of hope. The drifter didn't blink. Then maybe every man sittin' here needs insultin'. The saloon tensed. Chairs scraped. Hands hovered close to belts where pistols rested. The barkeep leaned forward, glass trembling in his hand. You gonna back that up? He asked. The drifter's throat was dry, but he held steady. I don't drink whiskey. But I'll take the girl. The woman let out a breath, sharp as breaking glass. Her eyes darted from him to the men around her. For the first time, her chin lowered. She was waiting. Testing. Wondering if this stranger was just another kind of trap. Take her then, the barkeep spat. Ain't worth the trouble anyhow. But you walk out with her, you'll find more dust on your trail. Laughter returned, thinner now, edged with threat. The men leaned back, but their eyes didn't leave him. The drifter picked up the pouch, set 2 coins on the bar, and held out his hand to her. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then, slowly, she stepped forward. Bare feet on rough boards. Shoulders trembling though her face stayed hard. She placed her hand in his. The room jeered. Savage. Drunk. You'll regret it, stranger. He guided her toward the door. Each step seemed to stretch forever. He could feel the weight of stairs on his back, like guns trained though none had been drawn. The woman's hand was small, cold, but firm. The doors swung open again. Light spilled over them, casting the saloon into shadow. The town outside bustled, wagons creaked, children darted, dust swirled. None of them knew what had just happened. When they reached the edge of the boardwalk, the drifter finally let go of her hand. She turned on him at once, eyes sharp. Why? His mouth opened, but no words came. Why? She repeated, louder now, fists clenching. Why'd you do it? You think I owe you? You think I'm... Her voice broke. She bit it down. The drifter shook his head once. No debt. No bargain. Just, you don't trade a person for whiskey. She stared at him, breathing hard, eyes darting as though searching for a lie. Behind them, laughter spilled again from the saloon, but it carried a new edge. It wasn't finished. He knew it, and she knew it. The woman's shoulders tightened. They won't let this go. The drifter looked down the main street. Dust lifted in the wind, carrying the sound of horses stamping at the hitching post. A storm brewed on the horizon, sky thick with clouds rolling in from the west. They'll come for you, she said quietly. He met her gaze. Then they'll have to come through me. They didn't walk far before the whispers began. The boardwalk filled with eyes, heads craning from behind shuttered windows. A woman tugged her child closer, muttering under her breath. Two ranch hands, straw hats low over their brows, spat in the dirt as the pair passed. The drifter kept his stride even, though he felt the weight of every stare. The woman walked half a step behind, arms folded tight across her chest. You should have left me there, she said, low. He didn't answer. At the corner of the street, three men leaned against a hitching post, rifles propped close. They watched openly, their smirks hard. One of them muttered, loud enough to carry, better hope he knows what he bought. The woman stiffened. The drifter's jaw worked, but he said nothing. When they reached the livery stable at the edge of town, he stopped. The wind picked up, pushing dust across the street in lazy waves. Clouds thickened overhead, heavy with the weight of storm. You got a name? He asked finally. She hesitated, then looked away. Clara. That all? Her eyes cut back to him, sharp. That's all you need. The silence stretched. Inside the stable, horses shifted nervously, sensing the brewing weather. The drifter ran a hand along his jaw. Where you headed? Clara's laugh was short, bitter. Headed? You think I got somewhere? They already took everything. He studied her face, the dirt, the bruises half hidden under her collar. She didn't lower her gaze, though her breathing quickened. They'll follow, he said quietly. Men like that don't forget being shamed. She shrugged, but her shoulders trembled. Then you best keep walking, stranger. You don't owe me more than 2 coins. The words landed heavy. He thought about turning. About letting the town have her. But the image of her standing in the saloon, chin high, silent while they bartered her worth, stuck fast. Before he could reply, hoofbeats cracked against the street. A rider barreled from the saloon, shotgun across his lap. The fattest man from before. There he is, the rider shouted, pulling up hard. Took what ain't his. More men spilled from the saloon behind, some armed, some drunk, all furious. Clara's breath caught. I told you. The drifter stepped forward, placing himself between her and the rider. His hands were empty, but his stance was steady. You traded her, he said. Done's done. The rider sneered. You think a pouch makes her yours? You don't know whose blood you just spit on. Clara's face tightened. For the first time, fear cut through her hard mask. Don't, she whispered, almost too soft to hear. The rider caught it, grinning wider. Oh, he don't know. Let me tell you, stranger. That there's Sheriff McKenna's daughter. Run off 2 winters ago. came crawling back to town a whore. The crowd erupted in laughter, jeers sharp as knives. The drifter's chest burned. He glanced at Clara, saw her jaw clench, eyes shine with something like fury, no tears, only rage. Lies, she snapped. He's been saying that since the day I wouldn't, she bit it back, cutting herself off. The rider barked a laugh. Won't say the truth, will you? Town already knows. Blood don't wash clean, Clara. The storm chose that moment to break. A crack of thunder split the air, and rain poured sudden and heavy, washing dust into mud. Horses whinnied, stamping in protest. The drifter moved closer to Clara, shielding her as best he could. Is it true? He asked under the roar of rain. Her eyes met his, fierce, unflinching. Does it matter? The rider leaned in his saddle, voice carrying over the storm. Hand her back, stranger. Or next time we don't ask. The drifter looked at the circle forming around them, armed men, curious neighbors, all watching. He weighed the silence, felt its weight pressing. No, he said. The word cut through rain like steel. The rider's grin vanished. He lifted his shotgun, then lowered it, spitting into the mud instead. Enjoy her, drifter. She'll ruin you same as she ruined this town. He wheeled his horse and rode off, the others following slow, their laughter thin in the downpour. The street emptied, leaving only the drifter and Clara standing in the rain. She shook her head, voice raw. You don't know what you've done. Then tell me, he said. Clara's lip trembled, but she steadied. Not here. The storm raged harder. He nodded toward the cedar grove beyond the last ranch fence. We'll wait it out there. They walked together through the sheets of rain, silence heavy between them. Behind, the town's whispers swelled, carried on thunder. The cedar grove offered little shelter, but the rain eased under the branches. The drifter found dry kindling tucked beneath a fallen log and coaxed a fire to life. The flames licked upward, smoke curling into the storm-dark air. Clara sat across from him, knees pulled tight to her chest, shawl clutched close. The firelight revealed the dirt on her cheek, the torn seam at her collar. Yet her eyes stayed sharp, never wavering. You should have let them take me, she said after a long silence. He shook his head. Couldn't. Her laugh was low, bitter. Men always want to save something. Makes them feel noble. Never lasts. The fire popped. He didn't answer. She studied him in the shifting light. Why are you even here, drifter? No horse, no gun. Just a pouch of coins and a death wish. He met her gaze. Why were they trading you for whiskey? Clara flinched, just barely. Then her chin lifted. Because this town hates me. Always has. Sheriff's daughter. Her lips pressed tight. She turned her face to the flames. I was. Once. The drifter leaned forward. And. She exhaled slowly. And I left. I couldn't stay in a house where every bruise was hidden under Sunday clothes. Couldn't keep quiet while she stopped, jaw trembling. The drifter's chest tightened. He waited. Clara shook her head, voice hard again. I ran. They called it shame. I called it survival. The fire popped louder, a sharp crack that seemed to cut through her words. So they branded you liar, he said. She smiled without humor. Worse. They branded me worthless. The drifter leaned back, the silence between them heavy but not empty. The rain softened outside the grove, leaving only the sound of dripping branches. You believe them? He asked. Her eyes flicked to him, sudden, sharp. Do you? He didn't answer. Clara laughed again, short, almost harsh. That's what I thought. You don't know what to believe. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am the sheriff's ruined daughter. Maybe I did crawl back here with nothing but shame. Her words hung in the smoke. Or, she added softly, maybe I'm something worse. The drifter frowned. Worse? She looked into the fire, voice steady now. I took something before I left. Something my father cared about more than me. What? Clara reached inside her dress, pulling free a leather cord. At the end of it dangled a small silver star, dulled and scarred. The drifter's breath caught. A sheriff's badge. They say I don't belong to this town, she whispered. Maybe they're right. But this belonged to him. Now it belongs to me. The firelight glinted off the star, throwing jagged reflections across her face. The drifter stared, unsure if he was looking at a victim or a thief. Maybe both. You stole it, he said. Her grip tightened. No. I claimed it. Silence stretched again, heavy as the storm outside. At last she tucked the badge away, pulling the shawl tighter. Her eyes met his, unflinching. Still think I'm worth more than whiskey? The drifter felt the weight of the question. He thought of the saloon, of the jeers, of the storm that drove them here. He thought of her silence when they first met, the steel hidden beneath it. Yes, he said simply. Clara blinked, as though she hadn't expected an answer at all. For a moment, the fire between them felt less like a wall and more like a bond. Then the distant sound of hooves shattered it. Both turned. Through the trees, lantern light bobbed in the storm dark, voices carrying on the wet wind. They're coming, Clara whispered. The drifter's jaw tightened. He doused the fire with his boot, plunging them into darkness. The smoke rose, sharp and acrid, as the voices grew nearer. Clara's hand brushed his arm in the dark, quick and uncertain. Don't let them take me back, she said. He didn't speak, but his hand covered hers. The hooves drew closer, mud sucking at the ground, men's laughter rough and angry. The storm had passed, but something worse was riding in behind it. Lanterns cut through the cedar grove, their glow fractured by wet branches. Horses snorted, hooves sucking in the mud. Voices called out, taunting, confident. Drifter. You still breathing in there? Hand her over and maybe we'll let you keep your skin. The drifter crouched low, Clara beside him. Her breath was ragged, but her eyes gleamed hard in the dark. She pulled the leather cord from her dress again, clutching the sheriff's star so tight it pressed white into her palm. They won't stop, he murmured. I know. The riders fanned out, circling the grove. One dismounted, lantern swinging as he pushed between the trees. The light fell across the ground, closer, closer, until it spilled over the dead fire pit. He swore. They're here. The drifter's hand went instinctively to a weapon he didn't carry. His chest tightened. Clara grabbed his wrist. Wait. She stood, sudden, bold. The lantern light caught her as she stepped into view, hair plastered to her face, shawl dripping with rain. She raised the star high. Stop, her voice cracked through the trees. You come any closer, and you'll answer to this. The men stilled. For a moment, only the horses moved, stamping and snorting. The dismounted rider narrowed his eyes. That's a trinket. Clara's chin lifted. This is Sheriff McKenna's badge. And I've got more right to it than he ever did. Murmurs rippled through the men. The drifter stared at her, half in disbelief, half in awe. She wasn't just holding a piece of metal. She was daring them to admit what it meant. The rider sneered. "You stole it." "No," Clara shot back. Her voice trembled, but she didn't lower it. "I took it from his chest, after he stopped breathing." The grove went silent. Even the horses seemed to still. The drifter's pulse hammered. He hadn't expected this. Clara didn't look at him, eyes fixed on the men. "You're lying," one muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. "You think he just lost it?" Clara snapped. "You think the sheriff left his badge behind while he went to drink?" "No. He died. And he died because of me." The drifter's breath caught. Ters Coes, Clara wasn't just the sheriff's daughter, nor only his victim. She had ended him. The men shifted uneasily. Some spat, others muttered, but none stepped closer. "You really want to drag me back?" she demanded. "Tell the town their sheriff's gone and his daughter's the one who took his place. See how long before folks start asking why you didn't stop me." The rider's face twisted. He raised his lantern higher, but didn't move. Behind him, the others shifted in their saddles, uncertain. The drifter stepped forward at last, placing himself at Clara's side. His voice was low, steady. "You heard her. Go back. Or stay, and you'll answer for it." The tension stretched until it threatened to snap. Rain dripped from the branches, the only sound. Finally, the dismounted rider cursed and spat into the mud. "Ain't worth it tonight." He swung onto his horse, glaring at Clara. "This ain't over." The men turned, one by one, lanterns bobbing as they rode back toward town. Their laughter was gone, replaced by muttering shadows. When the last hoofbeat faded, the grove fell quiet again. Clara lowered the star, her hand shaking now that the moment had passed. She sank to her knees, mud soaking her dress. The drifter knelt beside her. "You killed him?" She looked at him finally, eyes glistening in the dying glow of the lanterns. "No," her voice broke. "I wanted to. God help me, I wanted to. But when I found him, he was already bleeding out. Someone else struck first. He tried to crawl to me, to beg." She stopped, swallowing hard. The drifter's chest tightened. Another twist. Not killer, not innocent. Somewhere in between. "Then why take the badge?" he asked. Clara closed her fingers around it. "Because I wanted him gone, and because it was the only thing that proved he wasn't untouchable. If they think I killed him, good. Let them fear me." The firelight was gone, but the storm left a strange stillness behind. The drifter realized he wasn't looking at a ruined woman anymore. He was looking at someone who had wrestled with death and walked away carrying its proof. He stood, offering his hand. She hesitated, then took it. "We can't stay," he said. "No," she agreed. "They'll come harder next time." As they stepped from the grove, the badge glinted once more in the faint moonlight, a promise, a curse, and a question with no clear answer. They reached the edge of town by dawn. Mud clung to their boots, mist rising from the ground as the storm's anger bled away. Smoke from the chimneys curled upward, thin and gray, while the streets lay hushed, waiting. Clara held the badge tight in her palm. Her eyes stayed forward, though every window shuttered open carried the weight of judgment. The drifter walked beside her, steps measured, shoulders squared. At the courthouse steps, a crowd had gathered. Men who'd laughed in the saloon. Women clutching shawls tight. Children peering from behind skirts. And at the front stood Deputy Harlan, the sheriff's right hand, rifle resting easy against his chest. He spoke first, voice flat. "So it's true. You crawled back with his star." Clara raised the badge, letting the morning light catch it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "You want to tell them?" Harlan asked, eyes cold. "Or should I? Your daddy bled out in the street, stranger says you stood over him, and now you claim what's his. That it?" Clara's jaw tightened. She glanced once at the drifter, then back to the crowd. "My father was no sheriff worth remembering. He beat his own, he shamed me till I ran. When I found him bleeding, I didn't lift a hand to help." Gasps. Whispers. Harlan's lip curled. "So you admit it?" "No," Clara shot back. "I admit this, he died by someone else's hand. But I let him die. And if that makes me guilty, then I'm guilty." The crowd shifted, uneasy. The drifter felt the tension coil, ready to break. "Who killed him then?" a voice called. Clara held the star higher. "One of you." A stunned silence. Her eyes scanned the faces, men who'd drunk with him, men who'd owed him, men who'd feared him. He had enemies everywhere. He used his badge to crush, to steal. And the night he bled out, someone had finally had enough. The whispers swelled, sharp and uncertain. Harlan's knuckles whitened on his rifle. "You think they'll follow you?" he snarled. "A ruined daughter? A thief?" Clara's chin lifted. "No. They'll follow truth. And if not, then they'll fear me, same as they feared him." The drifter stepped forward, his voice cutting through the noise. "You wanted a trade. Whiskey for a life. This town weighed her worth like cattle. I tell you now, she's worth more than all of you put together." The silence that followed was thick, every eye swinging between the stranger and the woman holding the badge. Then, from the back, an old rancher spoke. "She fed my boy once, when we had nothing. Sheriff never lifted a hand." A woman near the front nodded slowly. "He put my husband in irons for missin' attacks. Clara gave us bread." The murmurs changed tone. "Not all, but enough." Harlan saw it, and his face darkened. He jerked the rifle up, then froze as three other men, townsfolk this time, stepped forward with their own weapons lowered but ready. "Let her speak," one said. For the first time, Harlan's confidence cracked. He spat in the dirt, then shoved his way back through the crowd, his threat unspoken but heavy. Clara turned, meeting the drifter's eyes. Her hand shook as she pressed the badge into his palm. "I don't want it," she whispered. He looked down at the star, then back at her. "Then keep it. Not as sheriff's daughter. As your own." Her lip trembled, but she nodded. She slipped the star onto the leather cord again, letting it rest against her chest. The crowd dispersed slowly, still whispering, still divided. But no one reached for her again. By dusk, Clara and the drifter sat by a new fire at the edge of town, its glow soft against the coming night. For the first time, the silence between them held no weight. Only rest. She stared into the flames. "You could have walked away." "So could you," he said. Clara pulled the shawl tighter, then leaned closer, her shoulder brushing his. The badge glinted faintly in the firelight, no longer curse nor threat, just a mark of survival. The drifter said nothing more. Neither did she. And in that silence, they found something stronger than fear.